It's time to get your clicks fix.
Hello and welcome back to Clicks Fix. I'm Rory. It has been a few days since I've rolled the dice and played with these pint sized plastic people, and I'm hoping to rectify that as soon as possible. But anyway, today I wanted to do a different kind of video than I've done before. With the new set, Collector Trove, coming out, I wanted to go over my kind of just my general thoughts on it, but specifically the things that I'm looking forward to. To start with, I'm gonna go over like the whole set, the overall set. I like it. I like some specific things that WizKids is doing with it, and I know this is kind of a divided issue, but I'll just let you guys know where I stand with the new 12 booster bricks. I give that a thumbs up. I like that. In combination with it being a smaller set, I am totally fine with that because I'm the kind of player who I like to get a lot of the good stuff. I don't just buy single pieces, but I don't try to collect like everything in a whole set. So buying a single brick usually gets me most of what I wanted. When it was just 10 and the sets were bigger, there's several times where there was even uncommons that I ended up not getting in the set and I had to trade around for or whatever. But in a set like this, I think the likelihood of basically getting a full cur in a single brick is higher likelihood. And for a player like me, I like that because there's a lot of fun stuff even in cur. I like to play for fun, and just getting all the best pieces isn't why I'm here. But that's for me. If you have any differing opinions, go ahead and let's discuss them below if you want to share your thoughts in the comments. But so that's the overall set. And then there's different aspects of it. But first, let's go into some of the pieces that I wanted to talk about that I'm excited for from the set. We'll go from point value, lowest to highest, basically lowest to highest. Anyway, first, talking about Swarm of Ants, number 10. I think this seems like a super fun, tiny, like a generic 10 point. I feel like I couldn't ask for more. It's 10 points, but you get 3 clicks of life, and they're tiny, so they can be carried around easy, even by normal sized people that are close combat focused, so they can get the empower off of it. And it's got poison and plasticity. I mean, they're easy to take out. You just have 3 damage, so you can deal with them. Not too hard, but that's a waste of an action or a focus of damage to get into them if you want to take them out. And they also have this unique modifier for adjacent friendly characters that share a keyword. It's only animal and spy, but I think spies can get thunderbolts nowadays, so that could open it up. But modifying attacks by +1. And I think that's just a lot of fun. And if you're Ant-Man or Wasp, you could just like bring a bunch of them with you. It just seems like a fun idea to me. Anyway, Swarm of Ants. I'm looking forward to that. Hope I get at least 3. Moving up to 25 points, Adaptoid. Now, it's another generic. I really like the idea of being able to KO something and then steal its powers. Taking it from the KO zone, getting all the powers it has on a click. Oh, and it's just the standard powers that are displayed there, so we can't use their white box powers, their special powers. But it's still, for 25 points and 5 clicks of life, being able to do that, I think that will be fun. I'm probably going to try to play an AIM team with these guys, probably with the one lady that like creates them too. Let's move up to 40 points. Cosmo. Now he's kind of just representing all of the Guardians in the set because I'm really looking forward to them. I just played with the Holiday Guardians for the first time. I know it took me long enough to even get them, but they're a lot of fun. And I think the Guardians with this coming set are going to work really well too because they each have like something they do special for all the Guardians. For Cosmo, I think he's one of the key pieces here. Nowhere head of security, friendly characters with the Guardians of the Galaxy keyword have Safeguard Outwit. Just in and of itself, that is great. But then also this unique modifier, if 3 or more friendly characters have Guardians of Guardians of the Galaxy keyword, they modify their defense +1. And almost all the Guardians have something like that that is triggered if there are at least 3 friendly characters with the Guardians of the Galaxy keyword. But yeah, you can look at them. I'm not going to spend too much time going over them, but Cosmos, I think, is really awesome. Then we'll move to the Winter Soldier. Now, this isn't necessarily just for the Winter Soldier, even though I do like this piece and it looks pretty cool. But this trait here that he has, once per game, when a friendly character that's either 75 points or more or named Captain America is KO'd, after resolutions, you may turn Winter Soldier 2-click 7. Several pieces in the set have this kind of ability where they have 2 separate dials. We've seen that before, but this one, they switch the dials on a trigger of some sort that happens during the game. And I think that's just really cool. It'll just change up the play style for this character and what your opponent needs to adjust to. So, yeah. There's the Winter Soldier. He's got it. I think there's some Kree. I think one of the Kree does it because it's actually a scroll. I can't remember them all. But several, I just like the idea. That mechanic, I think, is a lot of fun. Not as controllable as something like switching out figures. I can't remember what that one was called. Like the one that Batman has. Or when they just have these 2 dials and switch back and forth whenever they want. This one is, I think, a little more story type accurate for how these characters would fight in a battle. Anyway, next one, because I really want this figure specifically, is Yondu. Now, he's Guardians of the Galaxy, so he could get all these bonuses that the other Guardians have to, but I really like him and the equipment he comes with. So we'll just go over him first. Sweep trait. Free if Yondu is equipped with the Yaka arrow, place the Yaka arrow marker adjacent to him. The marker, not the equipment. And this is because when you use it for stuff, it sends the arrow off. He's the only one who can call the arrow back to him. Anyway, continuing with this trait, when Yondu uses the Yaka arrow's effect, he instead deals damage to each opposing character between the squares and destroys any blocking terrain between the squares. That'll make more sense when we look at the Yaka arrow in just a minute, but it's basically he can do free damage. And free damage is awesome. It's penetrating. Anyway, this defense power he has, almost all of his style. Energy shield deflection, super senses. When he uses super senses and succeeds, after resolutions, give the attacker an action token. If you can't, they take 1 penetrating damage instead. Another way to get free damage on somebody. And then his last click, he has a stop click on his damage slot. Stop and power. Choose another character within range and line of fire. Can be friendly or opposing. If the chosen character is opposing, deal them 3 penetrating damage. could be critical. Otherwise, heal that character, if it's friendly. Heal that character 3 clicks. In this game, they have Power Cosmic, the Cosmic Energy, which is awesome. That could be super critical in a game too. Kind of just depends on the state of the game when that happens. But if he does either of those things, you KO Yondu. So he goes out with a bang, whether it's a very offensive bang or a defensive health bang. He goes out with a bang, and I really like it. The Aka arrow he comes with is awesome too because it lets you do free damage without rolling the dice. When this equipment is equipped, generate a Yaka arrow marker. When this equipment is unequipped, remove that marker from the game. Free, place the Yaka arrow marker up to 4 squares away from its current square on a direct line from its current square. Deal 1 penetrating damage to an opposing character on that direct line between those squares. So just by itself, it deals free damage to one character. If Yondu has it, he does it to all the characters it goes through. So if it's on anybody but Kraglin or Yondu, it's going to be 20 points, except for some special cases. So usually it's best on Yondu. But still, it might be worth it to be doing at least one penetrating, not at least, but one penetrating damage at critical times. Next, we'll go into Dr. Doom, one of the chases. Now, it's not necessarily Dr. Doom, even though he's the one I kind of want the most out of the chases. The whole theme of the chases, I think, is just a lot of fun. They either have the Dark Hold or the Infinity Gauntlet, and then they can equip the one-shots or have the one-shots for free and possibly renew those one-shots so they can be used more than once. I just think that's a lot of... We'll talk more about the one-shots later, but them being able to use them multiple times, I think, is really cool. And it's very, very thematic. And I don't think any of the chases are particularly oppressive or crazy, but I think they're a lot of fun. I think I would want Doctor Doom the most just because he's he's really good. But I really like characters that put out bystanders, and he's one of them, and they're pretty dang good bystanders, these Doom bots. And we're not going to go over him thoroughly, but you can read him, pause the video, whatever. You can look at him in more detail if you haven't already, but I think he's a really fun chase. Now, even more rare than a chase, we'll go to the Ultra Chase, the Collector. 200 points, but I think he's worth the 200 points. He seems like he's going to be so much fun to play with. Collector may have any number of equipment equipped at the same time. We see a lot of more characters like that these days, which I think is just fun. During force construction, he can be assigned up to 3 equipment with a total point of 30 without paying for them. So they don't go against your team build point wise, but you have a max of 30 points for those three equipments, and he just gets them at the beginning. And opposing effects can't unequip, destroy, or remove equipment from the collector, or remove equipment equipped to the collector from the game. So he keeps his collection unless he gets rid of his collection, which he can do. We'll read that in a bit. Other trait, free, give a collection token to an opposing character anywhere on the map. Doesn't have to see him, whatever. You just give it to him. And then he can take a power action, make an attack instead of normal damage. So he has to be able to make the attack. He still has to be able to. But instead of normal damage, choose a hit character. He's got 2 targets, so he's got that option. If that character has at least 1 collection token for each 30 points, for each 30 points of its point value, KO them. So it doesn't matter. They're KO'd. I guess if it was Darkseid or somebody like that, and it was the first KO, that would trigger their when they would be KO'd effect. But otherwise, it's just, doesn't matter what your defenses are. Doesn't matter if you have stop clicks. You're KO'd if you have enough of the collection tokens on you. so I don't care about doing damage, right? Then KO them. Instead of removing them from the game, turn them to any click and place them on collector card, and he can use the standard powers displayed on that click this game. So he KOs them. He gets to copy their powers on any specific click, and he gets to equip the equipment that they had. So I just think that's super fun. I want to see it happen. Even if I don't end up getting the collector, I just want to see it happen sometime. So hope somebody I play with in a venue I can watch their games play it. Also has 3 stop clicks on the defense, but only the first time the click is revealed. So each one can only stop the damage once, which is good because he can, on those stop clicks, he has this power, which is, oh, well, in addition, invulnerability and super senses on those stop clicks, and free destroyed equipment equipped to the collector. If you do, roll a d6 and heal the collector equal to half the result. So free regen by destroying some equipment that he has. That'll be really solid. You're gonna have to double tap him several times if you want to avoid him being able to do that. And then on the first 2 clicks and with his stop clicks, he gets probability control and shape change. So making it even harder to land a second hit to get him off of the stop clicks. Collector's awesome. And the collector, like we were saying, collects equipment. So besides the Aka arrow, the equipment that I'm looking forward to more than the others is the Bloodstone. I just think there's way too much healing going on. Way too much healing going on in the game these days. And I think that having the Bloodstone on the team will be really useful. Just for 10 points, unless it's Elsa or Ulysses Bloodstone. But 10 points to give them regeneration, and when an opposing character would heal, instead they heal 1 click less. So, Steel Energy, sorry. Blackshirt Scott Porter, sorry. Those things aren't happening. I really want this Bloodstone. Just 10 points to get that. Now, I know we went all the way up to the Ultra Chase, but still a few characters I want to talk about. On the Prime side, the main Prime that I'm looking at, all of them are pretty good. I like them. But I'm looking at Namor. Again, 200 points, but he is worth it. Trait. Clear terrain on the lowest elevation level is water terrain. If you choose a totally flat map, everything's water terrain. So because of that, and the benefits he gets from it, you probably want to have a theme team to increase the likelihood of you getting to choose the map. Friendly characters have the dolphin symbol. If they already have the dolphin symbol and occupy water terrain, lanes of fire drawn to them by non-adjacent opposing characters are blocked. Protected pulse wave. So if you just get swimmers on the team, besides even beyond him, they have to get next to you if you're in water. Not just the 4 squares away, they have to get next to you. Command the Sea Blades. Another trait, at the beginning of your turn, Namor can generate up to 2 Seablade bystanders. As I said before, I love bystander creators, and I think he would be awesome for that. Special attack. Through most of his dial, except for right in the middle, when Namor makes a close attack, opposing characters within 4 squares occupying water terrain are considered adjacent to him. Which is likely going to be the case because you're going to want to lure them into the water. So they're going to have to get there. They're likely going to have to get there at some point. Yeah. And then he's got 3 stop clicks that say stop invincible. Just super awesome Namor. I really like him. Now, one more figure I wanted to talk about. Going back to some comments, I think this is just fun that WizKids included a up to 300 point Thanos in the common slot. Ugh, that's fun. We'll just read them real quick. trait, Astral Regulator free. Choose a character on your sideline with Cosmic or Deity keyword. There are a ton of them, and choose a standard power printed on their card. Thanos can use the chosen power until your next turn. It's a pick a power. It's kind of like a strategic. You got a certain selection, but a pick a power on a 300 point character with a 14 attack and 5 damage and 20 defense. You can't play him at 150 points and he's still really good there, but man, and he's got Reap, which gets you 10 extra victory points if you're KOing smaller characters, 30 points or less. I just think it's really good. And it gives people that don't pull well in sealed a chance to pull something more common that's really good and win whatever pricing is there, as opposed to the people who just pull the lucky super rares and chases and then win and also get the pricing. So I think it's a good way to kind of balance sealed stuff. Like if you pull chases and super rares, you don't necessarily win. You still have to play well if you want to beat a Thanos. Now, those are all the main figures. Oh, no. The main figures from the set. Those are the ones I want to talk about. But there are a few figures that come in the form of legacy cards. And I really like a couple of these. And I'm looking forward to these. First, we'll talk about Molecule Man. Now, he's not crazy and like nearly broken like he was when he first came out, but I still think he's really good. Terrain markers don't hinder or block lines of fire drawn by Molecule Man. Now, printed terrain, that still is going to do its thing, but terrain markers, and terrain markers do a lot these days. People bring them, and they can do so many different things, but he can just see through them, doesn't bother him. Also, Molecule Man can reduce penetrating damage, which is great because otherwise he's pretty easy to take out. And then when he hits multiple characters instead of normal damage, he may deal each hit character damage equal to his printed damage value. So at 75 points, that'll be 3. So he can just, and he's got a range of 8. That's another crazy part. Range of 8, hit 3 people, deal 3 damage to each of them. He's just awesome. If he's 75 points, he may take the same free action up to twice a turn. He's got Outwit. He could outwit 2 times, and they can't hide behind terrain markers if they're trying to do that. I mean, they can hide in printed terrain if they have stealth or behind blocking. But if he can get to see him, he can outwit 2 things, and he can sidestep twice. It can be like sidestep, attack, and then back off again, or just get close enough so you can do his attacks. But yeah, I think this is a good Molecule Man. Now, the one that I would really like to get is the one that was made by some of the winners of, I think, one of the team sealed at Worlds, I think it was, or something like that. Captain America, friggin' awesome figure. Like I said, I like characters that make bystanders, and he makes some solid bystanders. And if you're using Falcon and Red Wing, I think they would really go well with him to save the bystanders if they're getting KO'd. But he's got On Your Feet, free once per game. If an opponent's force has more characters than yours, generate all bystanders on this card. So he could, if they have more characters, do his full 10 movement if they're too far away. Oh, first let's read the other trait. Energy Explosion, Energy Shield Deflection, and free make a range attack. So he can move 10 by himself. Move 10, make a range attack for free, right, with a range of 5, and put out 4 guys that can also do attacks and whatever it is. These are Doctor Strange, Falcon, Hulk, and Spider-Man. Each really good in their own ways. And like him, they all have the Avengers team ability, which comes into play with his damage power. Leadership and friendly characters with the Avengers team ability modify their defense +1 for each friendly character with the Avengers team ability that is adjacent to them. So it's kind of a formation team. So there's danger in that, but you're possibly increasing your defenses by 3, which is nuts, without using a single perplex. Anyway, definitely want him. I don't have this figure, which saddens me. I didn't get a brick of What If when this figure came out, so I never got him, which I find sad. Especially if I get this card, if I pull this card in a brick, I feel like I'm gonna have to give up some other things so I can get the figure to use him. Give up some stuff that I want to keep, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I would be fine getting the Molecule Man as well, or Captain Marvel. I do like her. Anyway, so those are like the figures that I'm looking forward to in the set. There are some that I think are kind of a WizKids dropped the ball a little bit. Gambit and the Thieves Guild. I mean, I can kind of see why they're there with stealing equipment and stuff, but they, I don't think they fit the theme of the set. Like, not even on the side. I just don't know why they're here. But aside from the figures, they also are coming out with these one shots in each pack. I think there's up to 2 of them in each pack. Now, I really there's all the ones that are with the gems. That's awesome. Like, and we talked about that with the chases and the dark hold. So those are awesome, but there are also a few that don't fall into either of those categories, and they're just what they are. And I think my favorite ones fall into that third category, and I think it's good because I don't think there's a way to use them again. Overall, I think the one shots are balanced, and it's a good mechanic because they can only be used one time in the game, aside from the other ones if you're using some of the chases. But to me, that's way better than the ID cards that we used to have for 5 points or whatever, which pulled out a possibly incredibly good figure, which could do his own thing for a turn, and then go away if you don't want him out there anymore, or you could use them to tie up your opponents or block line of fire and all these different things. It's just there was a lot of exploiting of the ID cards back in the day. I hope it doesn't happen with these one shots. I think these will be a bit better. But talk about a few of the ones that I'm looking at. One being the Pim particles. The effect is friendly characters have free choose tiny or giant size symbols. And this character is the chosen size and modifies their defense +1 until the end of your turn. And that's your entire team can do that. Your whole team. And they can choose to be tiny or big. And get defense +1, and if they're tiny, from range, defense +2 essentially. And if they're giant, they get the giant reach. If they're giant, the next turn they will have the willpower, giant size willpower. I think that could really turn a game around in some situations. Another one is the shield throw. I think that one's going to be super fun. I know that Molecule Man basically does the same thing, but anyway. Effect: equipped friendly characters have range 3 targets, make a range attack with a minimum range of 4. Instead of normal damage, deal each hit character 3 damage. So and again, that's your entire team. Your entire team could just deal out 3 damage to 3 different targets during one turn. Used at the right time with the right, lines of fire and all this stuff, that could be devastating. I think that would be pretty awesome. Now, the one shot that I think everybody's really talking about for good reason is Rivalry. Its effect is when a friendly character attacks a single target that shares a keyword with them, you may choose not to roll the attack roll. If you do, the attack becomes a hit. So that could be it can be game changing. I don't think it's game breaking for several reasons. One, they do have to share a keyword. So it kind of depends on what your opponent is playing and who you have that can go make that attack. And they can only target a single character, and this can only be done once. Uh, and it can be very useful if the situation comes up. It could really make things go your way. But I don't know. When you look at the meta, there are some very, very common figures, so you can have this ready to go. But of course, there's the Black Panther. They would just say, no, you can't use that one shot, whatever it is with the sideline stuff. But oh man, yeah. So I don't think it's going to be disastrous for the game, but I think it's a lot of fun. If you can use it, it's going to be awesome. But that basically covers it. My thoughts. What I am looking forward to, what I'm excited about for Collector's Trove, um, just the different mechanics, the different themes, how things work together, the equipment, and some of the figures that am looking forward to using. There are more, definitely have more, and when I get to seeing how some of them are used a bit more, I'll do my video for the top 5 for each rarity. Because of the size of the set, I might cut that back to top 3, or else I'd be basically reviewing half the set. So, anyway, let me know what are your thoughts. What do you think about Collector's Trove coming up? What are you most excited for? Do you think it's just a flop? Is this a horrible mistake? These different changes that WizKids is making? Uh, Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that fun YouTube stuff, and I hope that I satisfied your craving for some Heroclix today, and that you will soon be able to indulge in our shared addiction with rolling these dice with these figures. Anyway, see you guys later.